patent is a bargain between the government and the person who owns the patent. So the government says to the inventor, you tell on a piece of paper that's filed with the government, you tell us everything about your invention. So Dr. Goldie with her robot this morning, the bargain would be she has to put down in that document everything about how that robot works. How is it built? What parts are used? What is the algorithm for coming up with the questions? So that any other person could make that robot within the same few days, for example. And so it's counterintuitive because a creator would say, why do I give this all away? I've been working on this for years. The government says, you disclose everything, you hold nothing back, and in exchange, we're going to give you 20 years where you can stop people from copying you. So if another company comes and tries to make your robot, you can go and assert that patent against them and say you do not have the right to make that robot or to sell that robot without speaking to me first. A patent tells a story. A well-written patent will start off by saying there's a need in society. Is that need for non-invasive surgery? Is there a need for a robot that helps the elderly take their medication? What is the need? Then the patent talks about why that need is not currently met. Despite the products that are available today, there is that unmet need. The patent then goes on to describe how the inventor proposes to meet the need with the new product that he or she has developed. So it tells a story. The most critical part of the patent is the part at the very end, and those are called the claims, because that is the part that sets out what you are staking as your invention. If you draft them poorly, companies will design around them. If you draft them too broadly, the patent will fall because you're trying to claim what is not yours. You can search patents. So students and engineers and other inventors in the audience, if you think you have something, you can go onto the US patent website cited here. You can go onto the Canadian site and insert your search terms to see who else is patenting what. There's an 18-month lag time. So that means that if you think that someone else has filed a patent, it's going to be quiet or confidential for 18 months after they file. But after that, generally it's public, and you can find out what they're up to. So what does a patent cover? Well, in the field of devices, you can patent the device itself. You can patent a robot, a medical instrument, hardware, software. As the US Supreme Court said, anything under the sun that is made by man is patentable. Canada has stopped short. Plants are not patentable in Canada. Mice are not patentable in Canada. In the United States, they are. In many other countries, they are. So almost anything you can think of that has commercial utility and a commercial result is patentable. Even methods are patentable. New indications of known drugs are patentable. So for example, if someone took aspirin and said, I have a breakthrough. I've done a clinical trial and have demonstrated that aspirin actually reverses the effects of Alzheimer's. And they demonstrated that. That's a new use, and that is patentable. So it's a little dense if you pick up a patent in terms of the information on it, but it tells a fair bit of information. The top right-hand corner, you'll see the patent application or the patent number. A patent is granted on a country-by-country basis. So for example, in Israel, you would have an Israeli patent granted. In the United States, a US patent. In Europe, various European patents. This is a Canadian patent that has been granted. To the left, you'll see the PCT filing date, which tells you that they have filed a worldwide patent application. Canada is one of the countries that is a member of a PCT, and typically a person only files a PCT if they are going to patent the invention worldwide. Line down, publication date, January 3rd, 2002. That is the date that this invention was published. So there was an 18-month period during which it was quiet or confidential. Priority information, a few lines down. There's a US patent application cited there. That means that the inventors filed in the United States first. So you would want to gather this information, if this patent is relevant to you, to determine where these inventors have filed. Have they progressed as part of their patent? Have they had success? Have they met with roadblocks? The inventor, have they listed everybody who should be an inventor? Is it possible that there's an inventor out there who wasn't named in the patent that could sell his or her rights to you? Much litigation takes place over inventorship and ownership. The patent also, as I said, tells a story. On the face page, you'll often see the title of the patent and the abstract. And when it talks about the disclosure, that's really where you get into some pretty dense reading, and it's directed at persons that work in your area. So if you're an engineer, the patent is directed to fellow engineers. Not brilliant ones who have about a C average, the courts have said. The average person who's a plotter. So many times we work with inventors and scientists who say, I'm not going to patent this because it's so obvious. So someone like Dr. Goldie, for example, might say, oh, it's so obvious because she's brilliant. But the test is really whether an average skilled person would regard this product as a leap forward, as inventive. And that test is often met. So why patent? Well, if you're going to set up a company, you're not going to get any money from your investors, generally, unless you've got a strong patent or IP position. About 15, 20 years ago, some companies would try that. They would go to investors on Bay Street and Wall Street and say, trade secrets. I'm relying on trade secrets, just like Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe. I'm not going to patent my new medical device, and I guarantee that if I sell this, competitors won't be able to reverse engineer it. Investors did not buy that. They would not finance those companies. They look to a strong patent position, both in what you have developed and also that you are monitoring very closely what your competitors have developed to make sure you have a clear window to the market. And that's known as freedom to operate. So if you want to get financed, you generally patent. But also if you want to have a payday, do you want to sell your company? Do you want to sell your invention? Do you want to license it? If that's what you have in mind, generally a patent will help to get you into the bargaining table.